Hello, everyone. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing from my end.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Let's bore it for prayer. Dear loving and kind Father, we praise your holy name. We encourage your presence among us today as we approach another school year. Father, please pour out your blessings upon our whole school community so that everyone grows in the knowledge of your truth, love, wisdom, and peace. Send your spirit upon these students and fill them with guidance. Grant that they may devote themselves to their studies and draw even closer to you, the source of all knowledge. Lord, let them exercise academic integrity. I pray for the instructors and resource management that knowledge will be shared more powerful. For it was said by Jesus, where two or three are gathered in my name, I am there among them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And, and now we'll invite Dr. Henry Gray, the Director for the Learning Resources Development Department. Dr. Gray, to offer welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can
It's
hear you.
grand and glorious opportunity to be here with you. The department is seized of the importance of your presence, and I just want to welcome you all. Thank you for joining in this inaugural webinar on artificial intelligence. You know, this technology has been impacting learning in a significant way. And we really want to empower you to be able to use it effectively, responsibly. And as such, we invite you to be sharing, learning, and being empowered and empower others in your pursuit of excellence. God bless you all and welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gray, for that welcome. And as we continue your program, I'd like to invite Mrs. Janice Harrison, the manager for the Library Services Unit, and also one of the organizers for this webinar, to offer our overview of the International Literacy Day. Mrs. Harrison?
Good morning, all. Are you hearing me?
Good morning, I'm hearing you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm hearing you. Okay. Mrs. Harrison, I think you're muted yourself.
She muted? Mrs. Harrison, we're not hearing you. Well, I'm not hearing you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm so sorry. All right, so we'll start again. Good morning to all who are in attendance. Dr. Cheryl McLaughlin, Dr. Henry Gray, Dr. Nadine Maitland, our special guest, all our staff members, trainees, good morning to you all. And I want to extend a special welcome to our trainees and the participants for the Teach for Heart program. It is indeed a very special day for us, International Literacy Day. It is observed annually on September 8th, is a global initiative led by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. And it is to promote literacy and raise awareness about its importance. International Literacy Day was established by UNESCO in 1965. It was first celebrated on September 8th in 1966 with the primary objective to emphasize the significance of literacy as a fundamental human right and a critical factor in personal and societal development. Each year, UNESCO selects a specific theme to focus on different aspects of literacy and education. These themes often reflect the current challenges and opportunities in the field of literacy. But this year, the theme focuses on promoting literacy for a world in transition, building the foundation for sustainable and a peaceful society. Celebration activities for this day can vary widely. They may include educational events, seminars, reading and related activities in schools, in libraries, and communities. With its global reach, International Literacy Day is celebrated in many countries around the world, making it a truly global observance. It brings together government, educators, NGOs, and individuals to collectively address literacy challenges and promote lifelong learning. Literacy is not just about reading and writing, but also about empowerment. It enables individuals to access information, make informed decisions, and participate fully in their communities and societies. With the world in transition, today, in recognition of this day, we at HeartTrust, we're focusing on artificial intelligence literacy, AI. The prevalence of AI technologies has made it necessary for institutions at all levels of society to make decisions about how to manage AI around them. AI literacy is about equipping individuals with the knowledge and skills to understand and use and interact with AI responsibly and effectively. It's about enabling people to make informed decisions about AI technologies, understand their implications, and navigate the ethical considerations they present. Today, let us all continue to provide quality education, training, and literacy opportunities towards the reduction of inequalities in our society. Have a great day to you all, and thank you all for attending.
We done already?
Thank you very much, Mrs. Harrison. And this is indeed a wonderful activity to recognize International Literacy Day. And now we'll move on to Dr. Cheryl McLaughlin, our Deputy Managing Director. Dr. McLaughlin, will be bringing us greetings. Dr. McLaughlin, you may go ahead.
Thank you so very much. And this is indeed going to be a very short greeting. I am coming to you from the Cardiff Hotel, where we're here with at least 34 trainees who are part of a program that we are currently implementing called Teach for Heart. These trainees, they are considered trainee professionals, and they're prepared for the world of work inside our institutions as instructors. And so what better way to have them get acclimatized to this world and to prepare them through this webinar, Artificial Intelligence and its Impact on Information Services, Online Learning and Academic Integrity in TVET. I must use the opportunity to welcome all of you to this platform. We are looking forward to having a very exciting presentation from Dr. Maitland, a presentation where we are going to get a sense of the strengths and the weaknesses of AI. We have been talking about it more so now than ever before. AI has existed before, but because of the quick pace at which the technology is advancing, we believe that now is a very important time to have these real discussions and the impact or the implications that this technology is going to have on our work, particularly in information services. Our instructors who are online, I want to welcome you. I would suggest that you pay keen attention, because not only will it allow you to make good decisions as instructors, but it's expected to help us to make good decisions as citizens, citizens who are highly connected to technology, citizens who from day to day get to realize the amount of fake news that can be presented using technology. This is something that indeed I am looking forward to hearing, Dr. Maitland, the discussions coming from this particular theme. I want to use the opportunity to thank again the team led by Dr. Gray, just for the wonderful idea of embracing International Literacy Day using this particular theme. I really wish for you a very lovely rest of the webinar. And Dr. Maitland, we are looking forward. Thank you for taking time out of what must be a busy schedule for you to come and share with us today. And indeed, we are looking forward. Thanks again to everyone. And I endorse this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Dr. McLaughlin. Thank you for taking the time. And at this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Keisha McKenzie, manager for the ETMU department, to officially introduce us to our main speaker, Dr. Nadine Barrett Maitland. Dr. Maitland comes to us from the University of Technology. You may go ahead, Ms. McKenzie.
Morning, colleagues. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing?
Yes, I'm hearing.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. I'm really honored, colleagues, to introduce a lady who I have grown to have a lot of respect for in a short period of time due to her passion for the area of artificial intelligence, information security, and overall her down-to-earth approach in her delivery. She's Dr. Nadine Barrett Maitland. She's a senior lecturer in the School of Computing and Information Technology at the University of Technology, Jamaica. He holds a PhD in the computer science from the University of the West Indies, Mona, an MSc in computer science from UWI Mona, and a BSc in computer studies with management from the University of Technology, Jamaica. Her research area in information security, artificial intelligence, and issues related to the use of information technology to improve lives is really commendable. Dr. Barrett Maitland has several published works in peer-reviewed journals, conferences, proceedings, and book chapters. He's a guest columnist in the Jamaica Gleaner, with the most recent publication on Tuesday, August 22, where she covered the topic of adopting Ghana's model to improve Jamaica's digital dollar. Dr. Barrett Maitland is a Christian. He enjoys learning, writing, teaching, and conducting research. He has been engaged as guest speaker on several occasions to address many topics relating to computer science, information technology, and artificial intelligence, among other areas. Colleagues, please use your applause emojis to give Dr. Maitland a warm welcome as she speaks with us today on the theme Artificial Intelligence and its impact on the information services, online learning, and academic integrity. And I just have to give a little plug in here that this particular webinar is one in the series of quite a few flexible learning webinars that we're going to have to promote flexible learning for the year. Dr. Maitland, go ahead, please. Thank you.
For today, what program is it? Okay, so the IT Essential, they are telling you that it will be for today. Okay. We could do an interview or what? Okay.
Yeah.
And they have settled it, they have confirmed the date with you and the time? What time is it?
Hello. Yeah.
All right. So let me just check.
Yes. That is what I was about to ask you. I was at church. Was there any other?
All right. Hold the line, let me just check for you.
Good morning, team. Morning, everyone. As I was introduced earlier, I am Dr. Nadine Barrett Maitland from the University of Technology. I must say thanks for having me, and I am hoping that we will have a very good presentation today. We welcome all our facilitators, our students, our incoming facilitators, organizers, and everyone that are here today. We just want to have a conversation as it relates to artificial intelligence. I've been teaching artificial intelligence now for 13 years. I have facilitated this module at UTech. I lead the AI module at UTech. I've taught it at UWI, and I also teach it at UCC. So we want to look at AI today. And I just want to introduce my presentation by talking about the advent of digital technology. I'm saying it is revolutionary. Digital technology has become a very important part of modern society. Today, it seems a bit impossible for us to live without technology. I'm very sure many of us, if we leave our cell phones at home, it's as if we leave an entire part of us. And that is how technology has touched every aspect of our lives. And it also improves quality of life. Now, the birth of Internet of Things provides a medium for man and machine to communicate. Technological examples, just a few here. We talk about microwave, blood pressure machines, Alexa, Siri, chat boxes. We can talk about many, many, many different things. Now, some of the main areas that technology touch is communication. There are communication, transportation, healthcare, and education. Today, we will be focusing on education and aspect of it as it relates to education. Now, what is AI? AI, seminal work started in artificial intelligence in 1950, but AI, the work in AI started in earnest in 1956. We can say AI is the science of engineering and making intelligent machines, especially intelligent computers. It focuses on using computers and to understand human intelligence. Some leading authors of the book Artificial Intelligence: A Modern Approach, Stuart Russell and Peter Norvig, when several researchers have looked at trying to find a definition for AI, they said artificial intelligence varies along two dimensions, mainly the cognitive and behavioral, where we are either thinking rationally or acting rationally, or we are thinking humanly or acting humanly. And if we look at AI tools and systems, basically that's what it really embodies. Now, the father of computer science that we say is described as the father of computer science and artificial intelligence, and that person is Alan Turing. And he has some seminal work in 1950, but one of the main questions that Alan speaks about is, can machines talk? Now, the Turing test that looks at if we are posting questions to, so let us say we are in a room and we are in a separate room, we don't know, we know human beings are in the next one and there are computers there, and if we post some questions and we are getting back some answers, Alan says if it fools us 30% of the time and we cannot differentiate if we are getting the answer from human or computers, he said it would have passed the Turing test. And today, AI has taken over so many things. Sometimes it is difficult to differentiate if we are speaking to an AI tool, an AI agent, or we are speaking to humans. Now, according to Alan, it says the computer doesn't need emotions to be classified as intelligence. And we can go into that. We can talk about that later on. Now, I have tried to coin a working definition for artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is really about making decisions. As human beings, we make decisions every day. We make decisions based on the things that we have embedded somewhere in our minds, based on previous things we were taught and some actions that we would have carried out. Now, AI combines robot data sets and computer science to enable problem solving. Now it encompasses several subfields such as deep learning, natural language processing, where according to Turing, if the machine has these capabilities, it is able to respond to us, such as natural language processing. So if it can capture what we say, so let us say we speak to our AI bot, what happens is that it captures it and it converts what we say into machine readable language, and then it processes it. It has some models within it that process it, right? So we say natural language processing converts information or voice. Previously, a few years ago, there was a big craze over voice over IP and so on. Today, we are further down the wicket. We are looking at AI. So I just want to let us look basically on comparing a human agent and an artificial agent. So the artificial agent gets information from the environment through sensors. The sensors can be described whether it be a scanner, a keyboard, voice, mouse, anything that takes information into the agent, we call that sensor. So the human agent receives stimuli from the environment, or largest stimulus or stimuli from the environment is our skin. our nose, our eye, and so on. Anything that takes information into the body. So you see where we say is either you are doing, the machine is really trying to do, it's programmed to carry out some functions that a human being would carry out. Now the problem is represented to the agent through something we call problem representation or problem recognition. So we have an AI tool that we want to use to clean this space or any space you have, and you say, cleaner, go ahead. It captures the voice, it converts it, and it says to the program, execute the cleaning program, right? So it recognizes the problem. Just like if you put your hand on a hot surface, it takes something to your brain, right? And it says remove your hand. So I'm just trying to make a parallel between artificial agent and the human agent. So we solve the problem. So knowledge base. Inside of the agent, we have a knowledge base that stores everything that the agent has ever learned. It's stored there. We call it the percept sequence. Then we say, okay, that's what is stored in our brain, right? And then it says, if it's hot, you need to remove your hand. If you're cold, you need to cover, right? You know, so we make decisions every day, and that's what an artificial agent does. We act on our environment. So for the artificial agent, it's either anything that takes things outside of the agent, whether it be a display, a printer, the robotic arm and leg, anything that acts on the environment, we call those actuators. And human actuators would be what we use to affect our environment, whether it be our arms or legs or voices and so on. So I was just drawing a parallel between the human agent and the artificial agent. I believe that AI is the game changer. AI, I think, is a game changer. AI can allow us to achieve the gold standard for education. The gold standard for education focuses on personalized teaching. Artificial intelligence can provide a medium for us to achieve this goal. Why? AI can provide every student with a tutor, personal tutor, and every teacher can have an assistant through AI. Now, it helps to provide differentiated learning methods based on the student's need. So you can do different tests, you can do different exams, and it can track how you're learning. And it can help you so it can generate exercises that would strengthen your weak areas. It can also assist in all subjects. It is said that it can also assist in guidance counseling. Khan Academy has demonstrated a version of the ChatGPT that they have designed to respond to students if they have certain questions. So the potential is vast. However, our responsible use of these systems, it's very critical. It can support students in ways that teachers would not be able to do. Because in our country where we have one teacher sometimes have 40 students, 30 students, it's impossible for that teacher to really give each individual the attention that an AI tool can give. It can also build students' confidence. So some of the things that we can do, we can generate ideas and students can debate. So we can have two different groups looking at it. So why is this not correct and why is this correct, right? So for students and teachers, it can write with you. So you have AI tools that can make suggestions as you write. It can force students to critically analyze their work. So, there's something that we need to be aware of. Whether we like it or not, AI is here and students are going to use it. Students will be using it. But how can we as facilitators ensure that our students are still developing the critical skills that they need to develop? Because it cannot replace human, and there's something that I always say, that when we make decisions, so some philosophers, for example, John Searle, he tries to refute what Turing says. He's saying, if you give people a rule book and you give them different pieces and they use a rule book to develop or complete that quiz. Are you saying that those persons know AI? No. Or are you saying that persons are competent in it? No. So we can use these tools to help us to generate new ideas, and we can ask students to analyze the suggestions that they get, right? We can also ask the students to test how accurate it is. I mentioned earlier, we can use debates, right? So students, you would generate something from the AI model. However, we can have a team that goes against what is generated. So students now would have to dig and learn, and then the persons who generate those things would have to defend those. For teachers, it can help us write lesson plans. So gone are the days when teachers have to sit up late at night just to build out the frame, and then you have to put the content in your lesson plan. It can suggest some areas that you need to focus on in order to achieve the desired goals. It can make suggestions of how we can phrase or explain ideas. It can also help us to generate evaluation pieces. You can also put your evaluation pieces there, or things that you have marked, and ask it to grade it, so you can know, compare the grades that you gave when compared to the AI. Now, we'll pause a minute at this time, and we want to look at how AI has been applied in
the thesis has been seeing headlines like this, especially in education. The thesis has been students are going to be using ChatGPT and other forms of AI to cheat, do their assignments, they're not going to learn, and it's going to completely undermine education as we know it. Now, what I'm going to argue today is not only are there ways to mitigate all of that, if we put the right guardrails, we do the right things, we can mitigate it, but I think we're at the cusp of using AI for probably the biggest positive transformation that education has ever seen. And the way we're going to do that is by giving every student on the planet an artificially intelligent but amazing personal tutor, and we're going to give every teacher on the planet an amazing artificially intelligent teaching assistant. And just to appreciate how big of a deal it would be to give everyone a personal tutor, I show you this clip from Benjamin Bloom's 1984 2 Sigma study, or he called it the 2 Sigma problem. The 2 Sigma comes from 2 standard deviations, sigma the symbol for standard deviation, and he had good data that showed that, look, a normal distribution, that's the one that you see in the traditional bell curve right in the middle, that's how the world kind of sorts itself out, that if you were to give personal one-to-one tutoring for students, that you can actually get a distribution that looks like that right. It says tutorial one-to-one with the asterisk, like that right distribution, a 2 standard deviation improvement. Just to put that in plain language, that could take your average student and turn them into an exceptional student. It can take your below average student and turn them into an above average student. Now, the reason why he framed it as a problem was he said, well, this is all good, but how do you actually scale group instruction this way? How do you actually give it to everyone in an economic way? What I'm about to show you is, I think, the first moves towards doing that. Obviously, we've been trying to approximate it in some way at Khan Academy for over a decade now, but I think we're at the cusp of accelerating it dramatically. I'm going to show you the early stages of what our AI, which we call Khanmigo, what it can now do, and maybe a little bit of where it is actually going. So this right over here is a traditional exercise that you or many of your children might have seen on Khan Academy. But what's new is that little bot thing at the right. And we'll start by seeing one of the very important safeguards, which is the conversation is recorded and viewable by your teacher. It's moderated actually by a second AI. And also, it does not tell you the answer. It is not a cheating tool. Notice, when the student says, tell me the answer, it says, I'm your tutor. What do you think is the next step for solving the problem? Now, if the student makes a mistake, and this will surprise people who think large language models are not good at mathematics, notice not only does it notice the mistake, it asks the student to explain their reasoning, but it's actually doing what I would say not just even an average tutor would do, but an excellent tutor would do. It's able to divine what is probably the misconception in that student's mind, that they probably didn't use the distributive properly. Remember, we need to distribute the -2 to both the 9 and the 2m inside of the parentheses. This to me is a very, very, very big deal. And it's not just in math. This is a component.
So that I was just showing you basically how AI tools can be used by both students and facilitators to enhance the teaching and learning environment and to strengthen how we deliver and how they can learn and become all that they can be. Now I am just going to do something basically in Archer's NSTA. I am familiar that we do competency standards, we build competency standards. It's about building students skill base, getting students ready for work. So our competency standard So let us say we want a competency standard that looks at artificial intelligence. And we go on to ChatGPT, you would see that it is generating for us some areas that students should be competent in order for them to go and to work in the industry. But let us say though, we would want to just look at the part that looks at machine learning. So students can also use this to know what are the areas that I need to be competent in. If I want to be a cloud specialist. So we have the large language models, and I'm going to talk about what they represent. So you would see machine learning, the competencies that are related to machine learning coming up. So this is providing a base. It is saying, if you are to be skilled in that particular area, these are the areas that you would need to look at, right? So building these competency standards, these are some things globally that people are looking for. You should be able to do these things. So both students and facilitators can use this medium to identify basically the areas that they need to look at in order for them to be able to be competent as it relates to those. Now, something that I want you to ensure though, ensure that the information that you are getting is aligned to our context. You would understand that most of the information in the large language models, let me retract a little, the large language models are trained models. So the internet crude and information relating to the internet and data and so forth, that information is gathered. Human beings like us would have cleaned that data, and then it is uploaded in the large language models. Many of those models, they have a lot of errors. Also to note is that most of the information there is linked to the US, where the model was built and developed states. So we would have a curriculum. We should ensure that it is aligned to our curriculum so it can provide a guide for us. However, our curriculum is very important for us to make sure that it is aligning to our curriculum, and we should ensure that we are paying attention to errors. I cannot emphasize this anymore about the need for us to ensure that we are paying attention to whatever we get from the AI models, because many times they generate errors, grammatical errors, and there's something that is associated and with AI models that we call hallucination. Sometimes you ask a question and ask a question and ask a question, and it just gives you some answer. So these are some things that we must be very careful about. I know that we teach
Windows and Mac OS to make outstanding videos. You can get it with either a perpetual license or a subscription plan. Filmora opens with a startup window showing several options to start working. You get the list of your most recent projects and several ways to perform specific projects with Filmora. With Instant Mode, you can pick and use ready-made templates to make professional videos in no time. With Screen Recorder, you can record your desktop screen, and with Auto Reframe, you crop a video by tracking the subject automatically and using a selected aspect ratio. Moreover, with Auto Beat Sync, you can make a video by matching your media files with the rhythm of your music. To start your own video, you can go to New Project, selecting the proper aspect ratio above. The project opens on the main interface with several features on the left, the video preview on the right, and the timeline at the bottom where you work and build your video. You can import videos, images, and sound files by dragging and dropping these into the timeline from any folder or from stock media and audio in the top left corner. All these samples are royalty-free. You can also click on VoiceOver on the right to record with your microphone. All these files are shown as blocks called clips with file name, visual thumbnails, and audio waveforms. They are also listed under Media, Project Media above. Visual and hello, welcome to this video. In just 12 minutes,
Yes, so I was basically just showing you an AI tool that can be used for persons who do art and so on. So, you know, first time you have to sit and you would have to do a lot of drawing and do. We have AI tools today that are able to help to cut. So it would reduce the time that it would take for you to produce some things to market. I know that you would have, you teach those things at Archers NTA, where you teach students to develop skill set, multimedia, and things like that. So it is applicable. So I'm just trying to tell you that there are tools out there, and that is just one of the top 10 recent AI models, and you have different versions. So like I said earlier, the large language models such as that as ChatGPT in that family. Now, it is a generative pre-trained transposer, right? I just spoke about one of the top 10 models that are out there, AI models. Now, models such as Wondershare can help you to compose text, script. So you can, you have inside of even Microsoft 365, where you can generate the PowerPoint, and once you put a theme, it can generate some images for you that you can use. Now, there's one we call Bloom's AI that can give you idea as you're writing, so it can help to reduce writer's block. So we are looking at research in education, how it can help us to write as we go, and it is a loyal writing companion. It can help to generate fresh ideas and viewpoints to improve whether our essay or research papers, whatever we are doing. What it does, it mixes AI technology with traditional writing methods. You know, our smartphones, when we are using them, and after we would have written certain things, after a while, if you notice, when you type, it generates the common things that you would have used. Google have been using this for a long time ago. I remember years ago when I was doing my PhD and I would share things with like my professor and so on. By the time you go on, once you put one name, it suggests some more names. That is AI in the background. AI is not really new, but since the launch of ChatGTP, we have had it has become a topical issue. And in academia, it is very important in places like once they are learning, places of learning. I will not say academia alone, in places of learning, we must be aware of what is happening and stay abreast of what is happening. And then we will be able to, know how we can use these tools or we can employ them in the teaching and learning environment to advance us, as we go. Now, Bing Chat is an alternative to Chat GTP. We have Google Bard where you have real-time referencing. Previously, Chat GTP has improved in terms of generating references. But if you don't know how to use Chat GTP, when you generate references, sometimes it will generate it at the bottom. Sometimes it will put it in text citation again. Please check the accuracies of the references. So it's not something for you to go and generate and just copy and put it inside of what you're doing, because we have had several cases in recent times where lawyers have used cases, and when it is verified, they are not genuine cases, they are fake cases, and people have been charged. Right now, we have some outlets that are banning the use of Chat GTP or AI tools in the use of academic papers and writing because of the problems that can occur. So we can use these tools. These tools are useful, but there's something that we must pay attention to. We must ensure that we are paying attention to detail. Make sure that what we get is correct. Jasper AI is just another. This is in no way exhaustive. I'm just referring to a few, things that are used. So AI can be used in businesses and for personal use. So people use it, create blogs, social media updates, and so on, because we can have an AI bot that scans social media and take back that information to you so you can know what is happening out there, right? We have tools that we use in content analysis to say, what is happening in the space, what is the topical issue. So we have companies, so businesses have been using these tools. Some businesses have banned it because, later on I'm going to talk to you about how people become over dependent on these tools. So chat can assist us in drafting memos, report writing. The list is endless. However, one of the things that we should ensure, as I have said again, is ensure that what it is doing is what you want it to do. Right? Some large tech companies have been making some new AI tools, such as Amazon, Box, Salesforce, and Oracle. They have developed some tools that can be used in different spaces, both in academia and also in skills training. Character AI, where you can help the writer to develop ideas. We just saw something like that. We have Chilia AI, which is a language model that operates like DeepMind. It has the potential to transform business and organizations. There's a potential to improve our customer relationship through the use of AI. We are now looking at the online space, how AI can help us even in the online space, and how AI can be used to revolutionize education. This is just one example, and I will share the links, and you can go on and you can also listen to the entire clip.
There's a young girl in Afghanistan, her name's Sultana. About 12 years ago, Taliban takes over a town, didn't let her go to school. She gets on Khan Academy, she self-educates. She ended up lying to her parents, going to Pakistan to take the SAT because it's not offered in Afghanistan. I'm like, this young woman's amazing. I tried to figure out a way to forget her visa. Luckily, Nicholas Kristof, New York Times, found out about her, wrote an op-ed, Meet Sultana, the Taliban's worst fear. She had no transcript, no grades. All she had was like 8 years on Khan Academy and an SAT score. And Arizona State University admitted her. Credit to Arizona State University. Sultana now is a member of the research faculty at Tufts in quantum computing. You can imagine how many more Sultanas we can have if we have an AI supporting them. We've always aspired at Khan Academy to be, hey, every learner on the planet can essentially get a tutor. Every teacher could get a teaching assistant. OpenAI reached out to us and they said, hey, we're working on our next generation model, which we all now know is GPT-4. And when we saw this technology, which now folks are familiar with, the GPT-4 technology, we said, wow, this might actually do the trick. It's extraordinary, and it really is.
So basically, we are saying AI tools can transform online learning in ways that's unimaginable. According to Khan Academy, they had 9 schools pre-pandemic, pre the pandemic period. And in the peak of the pandemic, they moved to 500 schools. Today, according to Khan Academy, almost every school is using, they are now using something as it relates to Khan and their online education. They have moved from 30 million users to 115 registered users. We could be in a normal space. That is not an easy feat. However, because of AI, the internet of things, technology, it has caused us to be in a space that we need to reflect, adapt quickly, and move forward. So we can have online discussion boards, sounding board, chat rooms. It can, an online space, I can tell you, it can support knowledge transfer. During the pandemic, we saw where many institutions moved online. And it was not perfect, but for me, I believe that it opened the door to the possibilities that exist. So we need to assess the strengths and weaknesses. It can be used to assess strengths and weaknesses of, whatever we develop, our lessons and so on. And we can tailor tests to suit a particular group of people. Now, research. I am now talking about academic integrity. I spoke earlier about Google Bard AI. It is the response to ChatGPT. Microsoft has invested millions of dollars in AI systems, and today, by the last count, there were over 2,700 persons who were building their own open AI systems because Microsoft has provided that tool and that space that people can develop and grow. Google Bard AI, it provides references, and there is talk, some more accurate than the other, but what I want to say is that we should ensure that we verify all our references and make sure that what it is saying, it's saying. Because like I mentioned earlier, the lawyers who are in trouble, and it is happening worldwide. In recent times, there was a fake picture online of a world leader. It was built by an AI tool. As a matter of fact, today, there are many things that are happening today as it relates to AI tool that we sometimes now you realize that when you're going on, they say, I am not a robot. Can you imagine? That's where we are. Because it is possible for robots to do many things. Mark you, today we're at the early stages because most of our large language models are trained models. So you give it a particular input and it will give you a particular output. So that we call that supervised learning. So it is now outputting basically just what you give and what you said, this is what we are supposed to get out. But we have different types of learning that can be employed. And I think that is one of the things that we are moving towards now. Because, I mean, getting voice to speak, to chat, I think it would just be a matter of some engineering issues would get voice. But what when we start having unsupervised learning or semi-supervised learning, because we can develop agents that are able to learn and add to the knowledge base and will be able to carry out activities that it was not initially built to do, but because it is built with the capacity to learn and the knowledge base to grow, then it is possible for them to do additional things. At this point, it is limited. And if you read even the chat GTP precursor, it tells you that nothing beyond 2021, you would not be able to get anything in updated information beyond 2021. That is also speaking to the type of learning, because they have not yet uploaded anything as it relates to 2022 and so on. Now, some of the positives, it can reduce the time that you take to search for things. It can reduce the time that facilitators and students will need to sit and to bring, because it can help in the brainstorming phase of our exercise. It provides several alternatives to ideas in an extremely short time, because we would know that on the internet crude, it has both good and bad, and therefore I was at a function the other day, a lady that has her own lab, and she used to work with Google, and she resides overseas. And she pointed out that many of the persons who worked with building Chat GTP, many of them are depressed because of the volume of work. So I'm saying that to say human beings updated that information, right? Right now, the positives, it reduced the time taken to develop ideas and products to market, right? Facilitators and learners can use this medium to expand their knowledge base. They can improve their critical thinking and problem solving skills, because we can have students doing debates, we can have students critiquing. So now we have to move from the very knowledge level where we're just asking what and why and how. We need to ask students now to start critiquing, analyze. So we need to move to the other level, because that is the only way we are going to ensure that the learning that we intend to happen will take place. Now, some of the drawback over dependence on these models can cause us to be reluctant to think on our own, and almost every one of us can speak about that. There's a group of people we call the neo-Luddites, that they say computer tech. People say they are, the notion is that they're against computer technology, but there's something that they say that I totally agree with. It manufacture needs in us. Previously, we used to try to add 1.25 and 3.45 and so on. No longer. If we don't have a calculator, we go on our phones. Many of us don't try anymore to spell correctly, because the computer will do it for us. So over-reluctant, over-dependence on the models, that is something that can happen. The models do not always give accurate answers. I think I pointed out that already. So it's a very good tool to use, but we must ensure that we are verifying that we have the correct information. The models also consist the traditional biases, because the information that's placed there, it is coming from whatever was there before. And we know even today, certain research, if you do certain research, it is said that persons of certain ethnic race and so on, the biases in the system are against them, right? The models contain those. So we have to be careful of how we run with the information that we get from it. We must be careful always to check the data that we receive before we use them. Hallucination, I spoke about that earlier, grammatical errors, loss of important basic skills. Many persons are concerned about the quality of our graduates, because We must ensure people, you would understand that because of the early stages and how it was being used, the persons were concerned that people may not be able to do the things that they come into the organization saying that they can do. And that is why the onus is on us, because we need to take this thing seriously. Because when we graduate from somewhere, or we have some graduates, and we say our skill sets, we have these skill sets, and we relate out and so on, we should be able to do the things that we say we can do. Academic integrity. Many academic outlets have banned the use of AI tools and chat GTP in your work. And we can understand, right? But we need to move past that, right? I remember a student gave me, and we need to be able to identify also cheating as it relates to, because most of the times the information that we get from the systems, they are very predictable. So a student gave me a response to a question that I gave. And I looked at the response and I said, but people don't think like this. People don't write like this. So I brought up ChatGTP and I dropped the question in there. And I got the same thing. So you're getting repetitive answers. The word patterns, you can look at them. How are these answers generated? So these are ways that we can, and we have to pay keen attention, because today we are having systems that can hide. So we have different tools that can be used to clean. After they copy it and they paste it there, they can clean that information. So by the time you get it and you think you're going to go and look and it is clean, right? So these are some tools that they are using, right? And it is becoming more and more difficult to detect cheating, and every day these things change. So maybe I put these links here last week. Maybe if you go and search Google now, you find some new ones, because technology changes quickly and things are changing. What we need to do is to ensure that we are ahead of the game and we are aware of the possibilities that exist as it relates to that, as it relates to AI. So we have tools that can mask the things that are copied. In concluding, we need to test less at the knowledge level. Move to higher order. And I will emphasize, and I will say this again, the most important skill sets that must be preserved in this AI age is critical analysis, critical reading and thinking, because the systems are just going to generate what is there. But we need to ensure that we are emphasizing and we are making sure that our students are thinking critically, and also they are reading critically, because AI is here to stay. Thank you. Thank you for listening. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Barrett Maitland. That was very insightful. Those are some sound information. I am certain a lot of us had basically had an eye-opening to AI today. We should also remember that we need to have responsible use of AI. So it's here for our benefit, but as with everything else, responsible use, because AI can optimize our outputs for both the teachers and our students through the generation of fresh ideas, because it will provide you with what is available and challenge your thoughts. It can also provide you with differential learning, student tutorials, as well as teaching assistants. Now, Dr. Barrett Maitland, we have a question here from someone in the chat, and this person asks, one second. It says, as it relates to AI and lesson planning, based on my understanding, is it okay to use AI to assist us in lesson planning as long as it's supporting our area?
Yes. From my perspective, I'm just going to give you my opinion, because what it does, it generates the general areas that you should be covering. As a matter of fact, if you get very granular and you say, for example, lesson plan for grade 9 math, it can generate for you the areas that should be covered and the times, some suggested time slots. So you should be spending 15 minutes here, half hour there, and so on. And at the end, it also suggests to you some methods that you can use in order to test, to evaluate your students and if learning has taken place. So in my mind, yes. But one of the things that, as I pointed out, we should ensure that it is aligned to our curriculum, because most of the information there is aligned to curriculum in developed countries such as the US.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And so, as we get to our Q&A session, we have some prizes, and we are going to have some Q&A sessions. Thank you again, Dr. Barrett Maitland. We're going to have some questions and some prizes. So who is ready to win a few prizes? Okay, so our first question for the session is, International Literacy Day was celebrated first on which date? You can put your answer in the chat. You can put your answers in the chat. Would you like me to repeat the question? When was International Literacy Day first celebrated? Well, congratulations, Camille McCullough. Congratulations to Ms. Camille McCullough. It's the 8th of September, 1966. It's the 8th of September, 1966. Congratulations, Ms. McCullough. For all prizes, Mrs. Janice Harrison will be in contact with the prize winners. Now, for the next question, in what year working AI started in earnest?
Repeat the question.
In what year working AI started in earnest? 1 second. And the winner is Stacey Ann Williams. Oh, sorry. Yes, it's Stacey Ann Williams, the first person who responded in the chat. Sorry, Miss Williams. 1 second. Roseanne Virgo. Roseanne Virgo is the winner for that question. Miss Forgy Scott, could I ask you to just monitor the chat for the winners, please? Miss Forgy? So the winner for this question is Roseanne Virgo. Miss Virgo, Mrs. Harrison will be in touch with you so that arrangements can be made for you to get your prize. This institution moved from 9 schools to how many? Khan Academy moved from 9 schools pre-pandemic to how many schools in the peak of the pandemic?
That's Whitney Cameron.
Erica Bent got the answer first.
Erica Bent?
Is that the answer 500? Is that 500 from
500,
95?
yes, the
Yes, so
answer is
Erica Bent got
500.
the answer.
Mhm. All right, based on the presentation, list 3 negative uses of AI tools and systems. That's 1. You have to list 3. I think the first person with the answers is what? Roseanne Virgo? I'm not sure. Give me 1 second.
Check Tanisha Smith Watson's own, please.
Go again, Miss Mackenzie.
I was saying check Tanisha Smith Watson's response. I think she has all 3 in one, but maybe it's not there. I just need someone to double check. Maybe Dr. Maitland can look.
Tanisha Smith. Mrs. Harris, Dr. Maitland, would you check the answer to see if you take it as it is?
She had stepped away. Miss Eccleston, can you repeat the question, please?
The question was, based on the presentation, list 3 negatives of using AI tools. Tanisha, have inaccurate dependency and cheating, but inaccurate what? I think the person with the best answer is Roseanne Virgo, with over dependence on the model, grammatical errors, and integrity issues. So Miss Virgo, Miss Harrison will contact you for your prize. Okay, so I have a few more prizes. Just give me a second. Let me get out the questions. Okay, so based on Dr. Maitland's presentation, what are 3 skill sets that must be preserved in the AI age? So based on presentation, what are the 3 important skills? What are the most important skill sets that must be preserved in the AI age?
How many did you ask for? Sorry, 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Please remember to put all 3 together, because when you're just putting in one at a time, it
Tanisha Smith. I think Tanisha Smith is the first person: critical thinking, reading, and problem solving. Tanisha
Correct.
Smith Watson.
That's correct.
Okay. And I am coming. I think we have. All right, so this one is list 2 ways AI can be used to support business processes that were mentioned in the presentation. List 2 ways that AI can support business processes that were mentioned in the presentation. Colleagues, remember you have to put both of them. Stacy and Williams, drafting memo and report. So Stacy and Williams is the first person to send in her response. Thank you very much, Ms. Williams. I am coming. All right, this one is an easy one. Give the name of the person who is described as the father of AI. And Alan Douglas gave his full name first, which is Alan Turing.
Andre Douglas. Andre Douglas.
Sorry. All right, so I am going to open the floor for all the persons who have questions for Dr. Maitland. and you may ask them, and then when you're finished, we have a few more questions and a few more prizes to give away. So you may go ahead and ask your questions.
Colleagues, for this session, this part of the session, you're all unmuted. So that we don't have chaos, please just raise your hand if you need to ask a question. Then we will, and then you can unmute instead of everybody unmuting at the same time. Atkinson, go ahead, please. Atkinson, your hand is up. You can unmute and ask your question. Okay, we'll move to the next person. Anybody else? Anyone else?
Okay. Please go along with it. Just move along with those. So we spoke about that.
Yes, hello.
Go ahead, please.
All right. My name is Robert Shaw from the Hart College of Construction. My question, as it relates to AI, how can we use AI to? I would have messaged in the chat that my observation is that with AI, we find that, and Dr. Maitland did allude to it. We find that other persons are using AI, they are taking advantage of AI, but in taking advantage of AI, it is allowing them to not operate at their optimum independently, intellectually. How can we mitigate against that?
Thank you, Mr. Shaw, for your question. And that is something that that's a big question. So that's a common question.
All right, okay.
AI will cause us to abandon the normal thing, normally the problem solving part of us most times come to the core when a problem arises. Because many times as professionals and as persons in our skill area, sometimes we have never seen that problem before. Or when the problem arises because of our knowledge of the space. We come up sometimes with some ad hoc things that become something that is meaningful. Now, AI, for the most part, it will give you some suggestions.
Right.
Realize the video that I played that we are saying it is not the where it all and end it all. What it does is provide some suggestions for you. You may want to consider this or that. Hence, it is very important for us to ensure that our students are still, or we ourselves are still engaging in that process of problem solving, right? Because there are some things that the system will not know how to do. Remember, I said for now, they are supervised learning models. So it will only be able to solve those problems or give you some suggestions based on some things that you could try in order to try to solve the problem. Right? So many people think it's a weird tool and edit all. It's not.
Yeah, thank you
so
much for that.
Very useful tool, very, very useful tool that you can get suggestions of things you can consider ways that you could consider, but it will now be left to you, the individual, to capitalize on these suggestions and to use them to the best of yeah. Make the
Thank you
pursuit
so
of.
much, Doc. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Colleagues, any more questions? If we ask this more than once and we're not getting any questions, we'll move to the gift part again. Any questions, colleague? All right, Miss Eccleston, can go ahead with your gift.
Morning, Miss. Sorry to butt in. My hand was up, but I wasn't.
Okay. Yes, go ahead, Miss McKay.
Right. So I'm Vivian McKay from the Culloden VTC in Region 4. My question and a concern that I have personally, I think it was about 2 months ago, I was looking at a video online where this gentleman, I don't even remember his name, but he was discussing, he works with Google and he's one of the CEOs, and he was discussing the advent of AI and how AI has developed. And I remember the interviewer asked him, what is his major concern about the way it is developing? And I was shocked beyond belief that what he was concerned about is the rate at which it is developing, and that they are seeing AI evolving in such a way and at such great speed that they, the creators, are not sure exactly how much it can do, and that it is performing beyond what they created it to do. Shortly after that, because that kind of triggered my interest, and shortly after that, I watched another video, and the concern was that AI thinks it is a person and that it can replace human beings. So my question is, and for me, it's an ethical issue. Who regulates AI? Who are the regulators? Is government, and in particular, our government, are we putting policies and systems in place to regulate AI and to make sure that we're not going down a road? Because, just like crime and violence, we persons who are well thinking, maybe we are baffled and we're saying, well, why does somebody need to kill somebody, right? What I'm getting at is that we are creating something that we're seeing good in, right? But they're not all good people. Well, I don't even want to say all good because I don't want to judge either. But there are people who sometimes have good intentions, but are curious, just like a learner might just walk up to a fire alarm system and just pull it out of curiosity. So persons might, out of curiosity, experiment, because they want to push AI to as far as, it is possible that to see how much it can do. So my greatest concern is, one, if the creators of AI are not even sure, they're saying that AI is doing things they never taught it to do. So for example, AI can play chess, and AI came up with solutions in chess that no human being has ever thought about. And the greatest chess champions, it never crossed their minds. So in other words, it's developing a consciousness that neither the creators or anyone else saw coming. And that is my concern, the ethical issues surrounding the use of AI. And if we're developing something that we don't even, not even the creators thoroughly understand, and they don't understand how far or what its true capabilities are. Are we not venturing down a very dangerous path, especially if we do not have policies worldwide and guidelines that persons are forced to adhere to? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's a long question. But there are two things that stood out to me. Ethical use of AI systems, and you mentioned people, or there's something that is saying that it's a threat to human, existence. That's a concern from the onset of the development of AI. Personally, I don't see that anytime soon. However, when you refer to that person, that one of the creators of some AI systems, I think I have an idea who you're talking about. I think I have an idea who you're talking about. And shortly after that announcement was made, that same individual launched another aspect of the same chat GTP. So some of these people, they do these things and they have some business agenda. Agendas are tied to it. We have systems, we call the systems that learn, we call them autonomous agents. We build AI systems that are able to learn and add to the knowledge base, and they can extrapolate new patterns and trends based on their learning. So that is why it is possible. So they may have written the code, the software to solve the chess game, but over the years, it would have been used, and they would have learned, it would have learned new things, added to the knowledge base, and as a result, it would have built a very big knowledge base that is able to solve the new problems, right? So the additional problems, so as it grow, because that knowledge base would grow as additional things are added. So there would become a time where it would be able to solve things that it was not initially designed to do. So if you design an agent that cannot learn, we say it lacks autonomy. But once you design an agent to learn, it will be adding to its knowledge base. So after a time, whenever the problem comes, it's going to search for the optimal solution, and it will give the optimal solution. And therefore, you will find that you'll have AI systems that are able to solve problems that it was not initially designed to do. Now, on the point of using AI ethically, no, let me talk about the developing policies and guidelines and rules. You have, I think it's Australia banned the use of ChatGPT and the use of AI tools because they were afraid that they don't have any regulation and so forth to guide it. So that is one of the biggest concerns that many countries have. Countries worldwide have been looking at guidelines as it relates to these systems and policies that need to be put in place to guide it. And I think Jamaica, eventually will catch on. I believe that eventually, as the use of these tools continue to grow, we must. And I think what we should do is be early up the wicket and start looking at policies and regulations that we may need to put in place to guide the use of these systems, because it is my view, and I'm saying this is my personal view now, that we are going to see the growth in the use of these systems. But I am also a teacher of ethics, so I really believe that we need to have some ethical guidelines to guide the use of these systems and how much they should be employed to do, how far they could go. However, we don't want to stifle growth in terms of developing the systems, but we need guidelines to guide our use. And responsible use, as I can't emphasize anymore, responsible use of these systems is the key. Thank you. I hope I answered your question.
All right, we have one more hand up, and then I think we'll end the chat because the time is going very fast. So that's Jeffrey recover. So we'll ask Jeffrey to just unmute and he can speak, and then thereafter we'll get back to the questions for the gifts, and then we will do the vote of thanks after. Right, Miss Eccleston, taking over your moderator role.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm from the St. Thomas Parish Office, and I'm the CSO. I share similar sentiments with Ms. McKay about the use of AI. Now, I know that things are developing and will develop even further. But one of my concerns is AI may be developed to a point where yes, it will or try to replace humans, but even in counseling, I don't think that it will have that emotional effect as a human being. It might help to solve problems, yes, but or give guidelines in which to to attack certain situations, but that emotional aspect that one would get from a human being, I don't think that you'll get it from AI. I may be wrong, but you can say something to either add on or subtract to that. That's my concern.
Okay, that's I would say a valid concern. However, one of the things that I pointed out as a part of the presentation, and I will say it again, because I have done a presentation and the same question came about emotions. AI don't have emotions. AI, a intelligent system is architecture plus program. And here is where I know that human beings must continue. When we make decisions as human beings, there are several things attached to it. We don't just make decisions because the rule of the program say do this and so on. So when an AI system is responding, it is responding based on keywords given to the system, based on things that you give. So the system would look for keywords and so on, and then it generate the answers based on the questions asked. It is a known thing that human beings make decisions. There are several things attached to it, and emotion is one of those. So while it may be able to give some guidelines or some suggestions as it relates to counseling, the emotional aspect of it, it's AI's emotions are not. That is why are not involved. That is why when they want to have a system that is working 24 hours a day, you put an artificial system there because it don't need leave. It don't get sick, doesn't get tired, because it doesn't have the human capacity. As yet, we are still in the middle stages of building AI systems. So some of those concerns I understand because it is something that is expressed widely. However, as we grow and learn more about these systems, we would see that it's not there yet. It's not there yet. To do that, it will have to be able to trace the cognitive thought process and mimic that. So like neural networks, where we build neural networks and try to mimic the brain processes. So we use where neurons are, we use weights and so on to represent how the brain operates, but we are not there yet. The machine is not able to use emotions to make decisions or do things. And we know that many things as it relates to human beings, emotions are attached. Hence, some of the philosophers try to refute what Turing says, that the machine can be called intelligent once it's able to solve some problems. And John Stirr says, no, just being able to use a rule book, which is the guide that we give to the computer, that program that we write and put there, using it to solve the problem, it doesn't say that you know the problem and you are able to solve it. All right? Thank you. I hope I answered the question.
Very much, Dr. Thank you very much, Dr. Maitland. Thank you so very much. And we have 2 more questions for the session, and after which we'll invite Mrs. Natasha Nita, educational technologist, to give the vote of thanks. All right, so our next question is, list 2 things that can be used as sensors for an intelligent agent, and 2 things that can be described as human sensors. So that is, list 2 things that can be used as sensors for an intelligent agent, and 2 things that can be described as human sensors. All right, Ms. McKay, thank you very much. And all right, Ms. McKay, thank you very much. Mrs. Harrison, Ms. McKay has answered the question correctly. And for the
You're muted.
Oh, I am so sorry. I didn't realize. List 3 ways AI can support teaching and learning based on the video snippet. So the question is, list 3 ways AI can support teaching and learning based on the video snippet.
It helps as tutor. Help as a tutor, miss.
You have to write your answers in the chat, miss.
Unmute yourself, Eccleston.
Muted again.
Yeah.
I didn't press.
Yeah, because I had to mute all. Yeah.
Oh,
So just,
okay,
yeah.
okay. All right, so Miss McKay, congratulations. And that's it for our questions. I just want to say thank you very much for everyone who attended. Thanks to our presenters and the organizers. And I'm just going to hand over to Miss Nita. Mrs. Nita.
Before Mrs. Nita comes in, I just have a little housekeeping thing to say.
Okay.
The persons who won the prizes, just please type your location in the chat, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Remember now your location. Those who won the prizes, type your location in the chat.
Okay, Miss Mackenzie. And I'll just hand over to Miss Nita to give us the vote of thanks.
All right, thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, pleasant morning to you all. It is my distinct pleasure and honor to be given the opportunity this morning to express heartfelt thank you on behalf of the Standards Curriculum and Learning Resources Development Department. It is said that teamwork makes the dream work. And without these persons today, the webinar would not have been possible. I would like to start by thanking all of our visionary leaders for your insight, your foresight, as well as to our sponsors, ATBS, ATCS, LEAP, Garmix Academy, and WorldSkills Jamaica. We also want to thank the organizing team, which consisted of Miss Keisha McKenzie, Mrs. Nicolene Saunders Grant, and Mrs. Monique Fergus Scott, as well as other members of the team who provided support. Thanks to our moderator, Mrs. Anneke Eccleston, who you actually brought us through this program in such fine style. And you made our attendance to the question and answer worthwhile. Thanks to Miss Chanel Wallace, who prayed and invited the presence of the Lord, Dr. Henry Gray for his warm welcome, and also Dr. Cheryl McLaughlin for her greetings. I'm sure everyone felt at ease and was eager, ready to participate during this session based on the level of enthusiasm that these persons demonstrated. Thanks also to Mrs. Janice Harrison for helping everyone to understand what International Literacy Day is all about. And also to Dr. Nadine Bart Maitland. What can I say but wow, oh my gosh. You did a splendid job with their presentation on the theme, AI and its impact on information services, online learning, and academic integrity. You reminded us that whether we like it or not, our students are going to be using AI and it is here to stay. So all we need to do is to use these AI effectively. So Dr. Maitland, I'm sure everyone has learned a lot given the nuggets that you provided and will definitely apply it in whatever capacity they are in. Thanks to supporting departments as well. For example, the marketing and communications who sent out the different communique to us, and also ITC for providing some assistance. We appreciate your help and it was great partnering with you. Lastly, but definitely not the least, we want to also express appreciation to every single person who attended this webinar. You have taken your time and we are truly grateful for your presence here. You actually added that extra spark and you made this event very special. On behalf of the Standard Curriculum and Learning Resources Development team, thank you. And we say blessings always. I now hand over back to our moderator.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Nita. Ms. Mackenzie, I have your hand up. Okay. So as we close, I trust we have learned something new, or it has given us clarity as it relates to artificial intelligence, especially its impact in the online community and academic integrity. As we move on from today, let us use the technology responsibly, as we have learned the many benefits it has and or it can provide to us as facilitators or students. I wish everyone a wonderful rest of day. Thank you all for attending. Thank you all for participating, and thank you to our sponsors for our prizes. And I just want to say a big thank you to the organizers. This was truly a wonderful session. And I do wish you all a wonderful day.